Hello and welcome to another episode of the Adrienne Ross Show, where sports and culture connect. I'm going to continue with another piece of Stephanie White's interview at Purdue University for the Presidential Lecture Series with the president of Purdue. And of course, Purdue is Stephanie White's alma mater. Now, if you didn't see my first video, make sure you do, because that video should put to rest some of the concerns of Caitlin Clark's fans in particular. What I'm about to show you right now, it really solidifies I could work with that woman. I could work with Stephanie White. Whoever thought that the littlest of things seemingly are really the big things? It's how I think. It's how I'm wired as a coach, as a teacher, as a person. It's something that not everyone gets, but I've been trying to point out on this channel because it matters. Culture and sports connect here on the Adrienne Ross Show. So let me show you this clip, and then I'm going to talk to you about it because I said it. I could absolutely work with this Stephanie White. Check it out.
One more question, please.
Hi, thank you so much for being here, and thank you so much for such a great session. My name is Sydney Case. I'm a senior in hospitality and tourism management, and I also am a women's basketball manager here, and I work in the event management department as an intern in the athletics department. And I was wondering, what specific values or principles do you prioritize in in building a strong, unified team, and how do you ensure that culture is upheld throughout the season?
Yeah, that's it's tough sometimes to uphold it during the season because you go through so many highs and lows. You know, I think the biggest thing I've learned is you gotta confront the elephant in the room always, right? You can't let things fester. You can't be afraid of difficult conversations. You got to make sure to lead in that way. You got to be able to hear hard truths, you know, as a leader, and you got to be able to tell hard truths as a leader. But you also have to surround yourself with people that you trust and people who can help you, you know, when you get tunnel vision, and help you see the big picture and can be honest with you and transparent with you. But as far as the things that we value, first and foremost, competitive spirit and competitive drive. Like in our industry, if you're not a competitor, you're not going to last. And it doesn't have to be to win at all costs, right? It's just how you do what you do every single day. Like for me as a human being, like if you're leaving your shopping cart out in the middle of the parking lot, I'm judging you. You're not going to be on my team, right? Like you're not going to be on my team. If I'm watching you and you're on the end of the bench with bad body language and not being a good teammate, like I don't want you on my team, right? It's not really about how many points you score. It's not about, you know, all the stats and the numbers and the figures. It's, are you giving everything that you have every day? And it's about being a good human being. You know, are you a good teammate? Are you helping your teammates up? Are you a good sport? Are you shaking the hands of the opponent? You know, all of those intangible things. Are you looking people in the eye when they're talking to you? You know, how are you being coached? Can you take coaching? You know, all of those things. And, you know, oftentimes we talk about, you know, there are certain program kids that you want to be a part of your team because you know they've been challenged, you know they've been coached, you know that they understand the bigger picture, how to be a part of a team. You know that they understand that sometimes it might be their day, sometimes it might not, and they're going to still be great teammates. They're going to still continue to work and grow. And then there are other players who come from programs that you don't necessarily trust that happens. So we have to do our homework. We have to do interviews, see how they answer questions. You know,
I love what I just heard. I absolutely love what I just heard. Now, again, you have to understand me as a person to understand why what I heard absolutely is like top notch and exciting for me, because I'm a values person. I'm a culture person, as you know. I'm a values person. So, but let me just say this before anybody gets it wrong. When I say I could work with her, no, I'm not vying for any kind of coaching position or any kind of position with the Indiana Fever. Absolutely not. So get that out of the way in case you misunderstood me. I'm just saying, when I look at When I look at the kind of program she's trying to build, when I hear her say what she says, I get excited because I believe that it's important. Notice what she said, and it wasn't the first time she said it. She said it earlier in the interview, that this is not about winning at all costs. There are certain things that are, yes, more important than winning. And so, again, watch the full interview. It's just like an hour and 3 minutes. It's worth it. Check it out. It will help you have insight into what it is to build a quality program. Now, she's at the college campus. This is a college student asking a very good question, by the way. How throughout the whole season can you maintain values and keep culture intact? And Stephanie White is right. It can be difficult to do so when you're dealing with people in any way, shape, or form. Over time, what's in a person is going to manifest itself. It might start off looking really pretty and pristine and saying all the right things. I don't know, you get about a month in, things start to show up. So you have to make sure that you have quality people and character, and that you're continuing to encourage that, and even, believe it or not, develop that in people or help to pull that out. And that is why it matters who's around you. But this is the thing that is kind of funny, but she means it. Like, you look at her face, homegirl is totally serious. She said, if you just leave your shopping cart, you don't put your shopping cart back, I'm judging you. Some people are like, oh, who are you to judge? You know how so many people throw that scripture around about not judging totally out of context. They usually use it, by the way, but that's a whole different subject. As far as this subject is concerned, it's sort of like, she's just like, I'm judging you. And she's not laughing. If you are not putting your shopping cart back, that says something about you. It says something about your integrity. It says something about even basic work ethic. And I don't want you on my team. And the other thing she said was, if your body language is off, you're like, what? Like, what does that have to do with how you can ball? Again, there's a culture, there's character, and it absolutely matters. So yeah, this is why it was important in Iowa, where Caitlin Clark's coaches share this. I've heard Jan Jensen share it. I've heard recently Lisa Bluter share it, and Caitlin Clark has acknowledged it. So it's not like they're throwing her under the bus. It is about maturing. And because Caitlin was so competitive, so good, and so competitive, there were times when her body language made other people feel like they were no good, like they were trash, like they were less than, like she was disappointed. And they had to begin to work with her on what her body language said to other people. And that's important. They took the time to make sure that she got that intact, because everybody can see the great talent, but you also want to be a great person who, even in difficult situations, can lift up other people. That's what it all amounts to. We heard it in the press conference to introduce DeWanna Bonner. When it's all said and done, when the shots aren't falling, when the games aren't being won, when it gets really hard, what do you fall back on? Character. So yeah, if you ain't putting your shopping cart back, you couldn't be a part of this team. Okay, they've got a rubric of what they want, and putting back your shopping cart ranks high on the list. So I just love it because, yep, she talks about winning. She talks about being competitive. Like she said, you're not going to make it if you're not competitive. She talks about hard work. She talks about all these things. And yet all of those things are wrapped around character, wrapped around culture. We will not win at any cost. We will not bring in just anybody. There's more to it than this. And so again, you hear me say this over and over and over again. I love to hear it from other people. It's like, I'm with you. I hear you. How important is this? And so when you model that, and therefore you expect that, you are going to get that. And if you don't, there's going to be consequences and repercussions. And here's the thing, when you have that mentality, nobody should be above that. And I don't know how Stephanie White handled everything in Connecticut. Like we said, sometimes your hands are tied because not everybody shares those values. And the best thing to do at that time, maybe try to stick it out for a little bit. I don't know. But at some point, you might have to part ways and go where other people share your values, or where you can create a culture that is best for being a part of a team. I don't know the story about Connecticut. I don't know. We all just kind of figure she wanted up out of there. In any case, I like what I'm hearing as she's here in Indiana. I like the shopping cart theory. Some of you would say that's over the top. I don't think that was hyperbole. I don't think she was just purposely trying to get a point across. I think she meant it. If you're not putting it back, it tells me what kind of person you are. I said all that to say this. What? Shopping carts, Adrienne? You want to talk about That's just a part of it. What I'm saying is that they are putting together a team that is solid, not just on the basketball court, but in the court of life and in character. And I, for one, can rock with that. I feel better about putting my support behind that, and it makes me want to watch them on the basketball court. It matters.